Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped and the guy just didn't get it? Story 1. I asked him out on a movie date after already spending hours talking to him, just the two of us. I had already given him lots of compliments, told him how I loved to be around him, how I really enjoyed his company. During the date, I paid for the tickets, he paid the snacks. I went to sit closer and tried to grab his hand. He genuinely thought I just wanted the armrest and moved away from me. I had to literally tell him I had feelings for him after the movie, and even then he asked me what I meant. We're married now, have 2 kids, and I know he'll never cheat because he'll never ever notice anyone flirting with him. And trust and loyalty. Story 2. After dinner and drinks, I asked if he wanted to go back to my place and watch Bob's Burgers. He said he didn't really like cartoons. I said, we don't have to watch anything. We can do other things. He replied, then what would we do, with a genuinely puzzled expression. I figured it was clear he wasn't interested and figured we had fun and called it a night, especially since he had mentioned wanting to beat that traffic getting home. Kinda bummed, but I figured life goes on. And then 20 minutes later, he texted me and said, not gonna lie, I wanted you so badly tonight. I was like, I didn't think so because I invited you up and you declined. And suddenly he realized I was inviting him for close relationship. He flipped out and asked if he could come back over LOL. He did and finally got it, and we had snacks and drinks and close relationship. Dated for a few months, pretty cool guy, but absolutely clueless. Story 3. I took my whole shirt off for him to treat my sunburn. He was flabbergasted to say the least. His dad even suggested he should do it in the first place. I visited his family over summer break. His dad even suggested he slept with me in the guest room opposed to his own, as it was cooler there. People kept making remarks. He asked me if it bothered me. I said, no, I don't mind it. He made a whole speech in front of everyone to stop it. Made me think I was the stupid one, lol. Took him 3 months to catch up to what everyone was seeing in a second. Story 4. I would like to think it was buzzed me missing the hint, but no, it was clueless me. With friends group at a bar, hot girl and I were flirty. I chalked it up to booze. Some other rando makes horrid comments. She's in tears, wants to go. I volunteer as her apt is on my way. Walk her to her door. She insists I come in for coffee to wake me up. Sure, coffee sounds good. Then nope. After coffee, she thinks I should sleep there to be safe. I'm welcome to share the bed, but she sleeps in thee, so I do too. She literally had to say she wanted to F*** because I was not getting it. Story 5. I am a man, so this isn't what you asked for, but I would love to offer my story about how my wife of almost 6 years and I got together, since it sort of applies to the topic at hand. So I met her at 35. I was single. She had a boyfriend. We had incredible chemistry, but I had been around the block a lot by then and was determined to not read past a solid friendship. We were friends, and I was an adult and not about to do anything that might disrespect this dog. Throughout the summer, we got to know each other more and more. It was a perfect, effortless, close friendship. Summer ends, and so does her relationship. I do not see this as an opportunity for anything more than our friendship. Sure, we'd be perfect together, but I pushed those thoughts out because, again, I didn't want to disrespect her or our friendship. We would hang out, go dancing with friends, etc. She was newly single, but we were friends before and nothing really changed. So summer turns to fall. One Friday night in October, we were supposed to go out dancing with friends. She's like, would you rather just stay in and watch a movie? Would I ever? That's one of my favorite things to do. And as an aficionado of bad movies, I love showing friends great bad movies that I love. No, really. So DVD in hand, I go over to her new apartment. I get there, and her living room is a huge space with a tiny little 13 TV DVD combo unit. Well, not ideal, but it will have to do. So she says, if you want, we can watch it on the iMac in my bedroom. And I'm like, sure, that's fine. Again, I am reading nothing into this. Friends can watch a movie in a bedroom. That's a thing friends can do. So we get into the bedroom and I load the disc on the iMac. I am ready to show her this movie. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed and she sits back against the headboard, against the pillows. She's like, you don't have to sit all the way up there. You can sit back here if you want. And again, I am taking ***, 0 hints, ***. I don't want to be ***, that guy, ***, and read things that maybe aren't there. And again, I value and respect our friendship. But I'm like, sure, and sit back there next to her. Friends can do that, so it's kinda chilly. She gets under the blanket. It's October after all. She then tells me that if I'm cold, I can get under them too. Sure, I guess that's fine. Friends can sit under the same blanket. That's not weird. LOL. So she starts getting closer and cozying up to me. I swear to God I'm not being coy when I say my thoughts in this moment are okay. Well, I guess friends can snuggle. That doesn't mean anything. I am picking up no signals at all. Then she starts kissing me. And we've been together ever since. I'm neither cool nor clever. Story 6. Not exactly the ask, but way I was oblivious as a sapphic. Girl I was friends with, and knew liked women, was holding my hands and kissing me on the cheek, openly flirting with me and referring to me as her wife. I actually thought she meant it in an intense female friendship, way until we came back from a thing with friends, and she said she hoped we would be close when we were old. It just hit me all at once how stupid I was. Honestly, don't know what the hang-up was. My one point of defense is that she didn't openly ever ask me out. She just started acting in a certain way towards me. My line of reasoning was that she was very attentive with her other friends, and if she wanted to date, she would say it. I'm still an idiot, though. Story 7. Not a girl, but I can speak to this one. When I was 17, I went to a lake party. There were probably 6 of us there, along with a girl I knew. When I got there, she asked me if we could pretend to be dating because one of the other guys there kept asking her out, and she wasn't interested in him. Hint 1. I agreed and we to the sky out. She kept holding my hand, cuddling up to me, etc. Hint 2. Eventually, we all went swimming in the lake. I didn't realize there would be swimming, so I didn't have any trunks and ended up swimming in my boxers. It was a big lake, so eventually this girl and I were away from the others, and she asked if I minded if she swam topless. Hint 3. Which I did not. We swam for a while, and she eventually wanted to rejoin the group. She was fairly short, and they were in deeper water, so she asked if she could hang onto my shoulders. So I had this topless girl pressing her ball against my bare back. Hint 4, while we swam. She stopped me part way and said she didn't want to rejoin the group yet, so she got off. She put her arm around me, and I did the same to her while we just kind of floated. Hint 5. Eventually, she slipped her hand down a bit and asked if she could put her hand into my pants. Are they even hints anymore? 6. She did, but hovered above my banana and never touched more than the base of it. She then asked if she could kiss me, which I agreed to. Obvious flirting 7. We shared a short kiss that was rather chaste. Don't forget that I thought we were just friends pretending to date at this point, before she quickly swam off, and I didn't see her anymore that night. I don't recall seeing her much ever again after that night, actually. I was in my early 20s when it hit me what had actually been happening. So, yes, I was oblivious enough to not get the hint, even when a topless girl literally put her hand down my pants and kissed me. Story 8. The first one-on-one date with my wife was at the public swimming pool. She was grinding me underwater, asking if her breasts look okay in her bikini and all that. When we wanted to leave the pool, I said we had to wait a minute before I could get out of the pool because, well, obvious reason. She suggested change in the same changing room and she got in front of me, but with her back towards me. I was quite confused, but I respected her and didn't touch her. When we got at her house, I would stay the night there on the sofa because her mom would be home. Her mom, a great wing woman as it turns out, said that she would sleep at her boyfriend's place so we had the house for ourselves. Still no bell. She left, and my wife said she was going to shower, but asked if I could come with her because sometimes she fainted in the shower. I was standing outside the shower, ear against the door to listen if she didn't fall. All of a sudden the door swinged open, against my head, knocked some sense in me, I guess. And my wife walked from the shower to her room, giving me a look I will never forget. And that was the moment I thought, well, let's make a move. We had close relationship. Story 9. As a man, I can say that I have one of the most dumb hints that I didn't get. I was only young, maybe 22, and there was a girl who was friends with a friend who used to hang out with us, and for months we'd always chat on nights out, dance together and so on. She was a literal model, whereas I was back then, at best, a solid 6.5. Eventually, we were friends outright and would hang out outside of our friend group. We'd go for a day out at the beach, that kind of thing, and I just thought we were friends, all innocent on my end. I thought she was really attractive, and we got on really well, but I knew she was way out of my league, so I didn't even bother thinking about her that way. So fast forward, and we all head to Bournemouth for a long weekend in the summer. Spend the day on the beach, drinking and sunbathing, just chilling out. We get down there, first night all good, had food, found a bar, all good. Next day, we're down at the beach and drinking all day. She's asking me to apply her suntan lotion, etc. And a bit touchy-feely, but I just put it down to drink, and it being innocent. We head out that night, more drinking. And she says she's not feeling too good and wants to leave. Asks me to help her back to the hotel. Obviously, I oblige. I want my friend to get back safely, and I walk her back to the hotel and get her up to her room, and she says she didn't have any water, as it is. I'm a prepared person and have a few bottles in my room, so I went to mine, got a bottle of water, and take it back to her. She thanks me and says she needs to go to bed. I say, okay, good night. Remember to drink your water, and she asks me if I was going back out. I said, no. I was gonna just head to bed, and she asks if I want to share her bed with her cause she's feeling like she wants some company. Again, I assume she means to talk to, and I agree. I took my shoes, socks, and jeans off and got in with my boxers and a t-shirt on, trying to be respectful. She gets in just in her underwear, and I laid there on my back stiff as a board, not like that, with my hands on my chest, trying to not come across creepy or anything. She then puts her head on my chest to cuddle, grabs one of my hands and puts my arm around her. Again, I go with it and keep talking, but I'm feeling uncomfortable. We talk a while and she rolls over. I'm thinking, thank God. And then she asks me to cuddle into her and spoon her. I agree, but again, I'm like, fudge, I don't want to get a hard-on and her think I'm some awful pervy, so I feel really uncomfortable and awkwardly spoon her. 5 minutes into that, she goes, ugh! This bra's poured water me off and whips her bra off. Again, making me really uncomfortable, and turns to face me and cuddle in, so I quickly look in any other direction than at her balls, and before I know it, they're pressing against me. Then she complains my shirt is uncomfortable and rubbing against her face and asks me to take it off, so I do. By this point, we're both in bed together in nothing but our underpants, me laid on my back, her laid with her head on my chest. I'm trying as hard as I possibly can with every ounce of willpower possible to try to not get an erection, and she then puts a leg over me. After maybe a minute, I think she eventually realized I'm not gonna make a move, or I'm not getting the obvious hint, and out of nowhere she kissed me. Then I got the hint, ended up dating for 18 months, but if she hadn't kissed me, she could have been completely in that bed with me, and I'd never have made a move. Story 10. Guy here. I am always going to get confused by hints because people are different. One person's, this is just a random thing I do that means nothing, is another person's, I want you badly, and this is how I show it. During college, however, I was responsible for welcoming the new students, so I kind of felt a responsibility of getting to know the new students, but also wanted to keep it very formal so the new students could trust me. So naturally, I didn't think anyone would see me in any other way than a guy they could trust and be comfortable with. Like if they had questions about subjects, books, or where to get the cheapest booze, I was a person they could ask. Anyways, at a party I ended up sitting next to this girl, and I don't understand if this were hints per se, but I think she laughed a lot of my jokes and sat close to me. If I went to the toilet and then started to talk with other people, it wouldn't take long until she sought me out. When I retell this story, everybody says it was super obvious, but I have also experienced someone has said something on the lines of, I would really like to date someone like you, and said, okay, let's go on a date, but still getting rejected. Back to the original story. Eventually, me and this girl were alone. Then she asked me, is there something on my face? I looked and said no. She then started to cry and asked why I hadn't kissed her. Flabbergasted, I didn't know what else I should do, then kissed her and she followed me home, where we slept together. Story 11. Guy here. Just 2 examples where I didn't get the hint and it haunts me. Went out with a few friends to a few bars and a club. I wasn't drinking, so I drove everyone there, and everyone back 2 girls and 2 guys, and me on the car home, and my friend jumps in the front and says we should drop off the other couple and the guy first, and she will stay in the car with me even though we pass her house on the way to the others. For some reason I said that's stupid. Your place is literally just over there, and dropped her off first. As I pull away from her house after dropping her off the others, tell me that I'm a moron. And I still didn't get it until they basically spelled it out for me and had been hinting at me all few times during the night out, apparently. Another time I was traveling with my newish girlfriend and her best friend. I was already in the place and they were joining. Her friend told me to save some money. We can just get the 1 room, and as the bed's big, I say, don't worry about it, the rooms are super cheap, and got 2 rooms. I got told I was being an idiot. I thought for spending extra money when it's not needed. And recently I got told that no, I was an idiot, as they were seeing if I'd be happy for a night with both, and totally missed, I didn't know was happening. Story 12. Everyone else is responding as the person who missed the hint, so I'll throw in my story. I, Sapphic, went on a whole peach date with a girl without realizing it was a date. We were lab partners and to the sky out after class a bit. Won 2 tickets to 6 Flags, there was a college trip, and invited her. Thus began the story of the most oblivious date of all time asterisk. She says, I look asterisk really asterisk good in this shirt. Thanks, you too. Asterisk. She sticks with just me instead of going with a group of her friends who are also there. I guess she just feels obligated to stay with me because I gave her the ticket. I ask her if she wants to meet up with them, and she says, nah. Asterisk. She holds my hand on every roller coaster. Well, I bet she's just afraid of heights. She doesn't let go of my hand afterwards. I guess she's just rattled. Because of the roller coaster, she also holds my hand on the merry-go-round. I don't register this as odd because I'm an idiot. Asterisk, we share an ice cream sundae. I think she just wants to save money. She offers to share the cherry. I graciously let her have the whole thing. I'm still not sure if this was meant to be flirty. Asterisk. She falls asleep on me on the bus ride back. I assume she must just be really tired and didn't realize. Asterisk, we get back to my dorm. She says that she doesn't want to walk back to her dorm and asks if she can spend the night with me. I tell her that there's probably a form we needed to fill out beforehand. She jokes that she could sneak in through the window. I explain that my bed is kind of small and then call her an Uber. A week later, a mutual friend asks when my second date with Julia is going to be. I ask her when the first one was. We dated briefly, broke up, moved to different ends of the country when we both transferred colleges. C'est la vie. Story 13. So I was always the sort of guy who never picked up on hints. Over the last couple years, I've gotten close to a woman from work. Her face lights up with a smile every time I say hello. We were recently talking about stress at work, and she suggested we should go out one day. Another time, she and a colleague were talking about Latin dance. I joined the conversation, and she suggested we go out dancing. Last week, I accompanied her back after the Xmas party. She had had a few drinks. We talked about life and relationships. When I dropped her off, she said she loved me, and we briefly held hands. For context, I'm 20 years older, 53 versus 33, and I'm her boss, so I've been treading very, very carefully. We both got out of bad long-term relationships recently. I have had very strong feelings for this woman for a long time. But after she dropped the I love you, I had to know. A relationship would come with a host of complications, but I had to know. So I invited her for coffee outside of work. She accepted. I laid my cards on the table and asked her about her feelings for me. Without hesitation, she said, we're like family and I'm like an older brother. I'm so happy, though, that I had the conversation rather than dropping hints. Story 14. When I was 14 and just started summer that year, I was at a big start of summer party. I ended up away from everyone else in a wooded area with this girl who grabbed my arm and put her head on my shoulder as we were walking. I knew that she was interested in me, but I also didn't know how to act, so I just didn't say or do anything until we got back to the rest of the party. Another time when I was 18, I took a girl on a movie date, and we ended up at a diner afterwards. We had good chemistry and ended up in my car around midnight. I decided that Frank Ocean's Blonde would be a good album to play in the moment because it had some cool songs I wanted to show her. To be fair, album still holds up as a vibe setter. We listened to the entire album, and again, I didn't make any moves. In retrospect, based on the situation and her body language, she absolutely wanted me to make a move. Growing up as tough Lowell. Story 15. He was my neighbor, literally 10 steps away from his place. I constantly told him he was cute. After a few drinks at mine, I suggested he should stay over at mine, in my bed, with me, as his place was so far away. He looked me in the eye and said, I'm fine, thank you. Figured I was let down politely, draw a line under it and move on. A year later, we're talking about his dating life, and he says no one hits on him. I say that's not true, but at least if he isn't into them, we know he lets them down easy. Turns out he didn't realize I was hitting on him. Story 16. I'm the guy who didn't get the hint, but just wanted to say my shame. Was hanging out with a friend after we'd both gotten out of toxic relationships. We ended up in her apartment on her long peach sofa with her sitting asterisk very asterisk close to me. We talked for a long time and had a movie on, and when the movie ended, she asked what else we could do, and even suggested hanging out in her room instead of the living room. I said we could probably find another movie. A literal year later, I realized she'd been trying to close and I was just stupid as fudge. Story 17. I was on a very nice date with an extraordinary sweet girl. She's really into this old vintage Middle Ages look. Is she a fairy tale girl? She's gorgeous, and I was very pleased to go out with her. We get some ice cream, walk around a bit, and just talk. At some point, we arrive at a secluded area at a lake and get right to the edge of the water. I put down my jacket on the ground so that she can sit without getting dirt on her self-made dress. The sun is reflecting in the water. It's warm and cozy, and we keep getting deeper into the conversation. I had 2 Capricins prepared, which she liked. It was very movie-like already at this point. Then from one second to the next, it started to rain like crazy. We got up and wanted to leave. I gave her my hoodie like you do and took the dirty jacket. At that point, she told me that she had some hair laying on her forehead and asked me to help her remove them. I did. I took a close look at her face, held her head in my hands, and put the hair strings aside. I found this extremely weird, since this isn't something you need he'll sit typically. Took me like 9 months to understand that I led the perfect opportunity to kiss the girl of my dreams slip, even though she kinda asked. It was a very dreamy date with an even more dreamy girl, and I'm thankful for the experience. But I messed up that up, ha 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 ha. Story 18. I was really good friends with a girl in my theatre class junior year. We used to make flirty jokes at each other all the time. Although thinking back on it, she actually made most of the jokes, I just reacted. One day, the rest of the friend group decided to hang out somewhere else, so it was just me and her. We were talking as usual, and she made one of her jokes, and we laughed only for her to then say, "Except I'm only half joking." It was at this point my brain kinda just did a full reboot while I was trying to untangle the mess my thoughts were in. She also was showing me pictures of her on her phone, and very excitedly went to one folder exclaiming, "Oh, these ones have a lot of cleavage." And I decided that was the time to be a gentleman and not look. I eventually got up the courage to tell her I liked her later that year, after one of our mutual friends told me she liked me. I kid you not, I was standing there stuttering for a solid minute at least, trying to figure out how to say it. Of course she knew what I was trying to say after the first few, and even told me she'd thought about just cutting me off and kissing me right there, which I like to believe is a fantasy every dorky, introverted guy in high school has. But she wanted to hear me say it first. She is now my fiancée. Story 19. Not a girl, but I was an oblivious boy when young. I guess it must be the girl in my apartment block who told me to come back after having my haircut to show her. When I came back and opened the door, she had loud music on and was dancing. I was so shocked that I closed the door and knocked loudly to announce my presence. That or the time I was hanging out with my friend, who went through the trouble to gather a mattress and put it in the living room for both of us to sleep in. I had previously slept on her couch while she slept on her single bed. Turns out she was waiting for me to make a move. Or maybe the time after a movie date and drinking at a pub afterwards, while I was waiting for someone to come drive me back home who said, "I really want to do something stupid." I was very confused as to what it could have possibly meant. Story 20. I was walking with a girl I'd had an on and off kind of flirty friendship with for a while. We'd been out for drinks with some friends, and while I was about 1-3 carrying her down the street, she giggled and told me she just had to get this off her chest. She'd been having dreams all week about us dating and hooking up. Isn't that funny? Apparently, as I found out a couple of weeks later when I tried to press the issue, that was supposed to be a joke about how we were such good, strictly platonic friends that she could tease me about us dating and flipping, since that would obviously never happen, and she was irritated that I ignored her very clear message and tried to push things beyond friends. Story 21. I was traveling solo, but had run into the same group for weeks in 5 different countries, and there was one guy I took a liking to. We were all on my hotel's rooftop, just shooting the cow, drinking around the pool, and he and I were flirting, as we had been for weeks at this point. I teased him about something, and he says, "Fudge you!" I turn my head to look directly at him. We were sitting next to each other. Tilt my head and say, "Oh, I wish," all while maintaining eye contact. I smiled after I said it, thinking I was being super cute or whatever. He sat there looking at me blankly LOL. I can't tell you how much time passed before I got a little embarrassed. Felt like forever, realistically was 5 seconds max. My smile fell, and I jumped up and called for more drinks. Later on, one of the girls in his group told me he was just taking the time to process what I said, gauge my seriousness. English is also not his native language, and she said, "I know Mateo." He probably did not realize what you meant until later. Another guy in their group teased him about it a couple of days later, when we met up again for their last dinner before they all headed back home. Even now, a couple years later, and despite his friends saying otherwise, I think that he must have not wanted to hook up, because I feel like I was anvil over the head obvious. I pass away inside a little every time I remember. Story 22. Found a hot guy when I was backpacking and wanted to have some fun and went to find out if he was open. We went on a boat snorkel tour with a bunch of people, and he to the sky around with me all day, always kept close to me, joked around with me, and got also quite touchy after I started being touchy as a first, I wonder if he's open for some action, like playfully shoving me around in the water until I wrapped my arms and legs around him to not get dunked, putting his arm around me to tip me over and fall on him. Always got me stitch as well when he went to get drinks for himself. Kept me safe while we were climbing some stones at the beach, and after return he instantly came to find me in the dorms. I thought the deal was done, as he responded so well to all my tries. So at night, I isolated us from the group and sat on the beach with him, leaning onto him, told him I was cold so that he put his arm around me and getting him to tell me some stories. He kept talking while literally cuddling me, and it got quite meta, as he said that he always gets put in the friend zone as soon as he meet nice girls, and he's glad to have met me, but thinks that it hurts him to continue spending time with me as he thinks I'm attractive and wants me, but clearly doesn't stand a chance. It was also worded really final, not like an attempt to get me to disagree or so. He clearly made up his mind and thought about it for a while. That confused the hell out of me as he was laying on the beach, alone with me, literally cuddling me after the whole day. For me, felt like a build-up to getting frisky in the evening, and while I got all excited for some action all day, dude prepared a whole speech in his head to tell me that he doesn't think we should continue to fool around like that as he wants me and doesn't want to get frustrated. Well, I told him that maybe his analysis of the situation is a bit off, and cuddled harder onto him to kind of grind on him. He was so, no sure of his interpretation that he sat up and said, "Stop it. I'm trying really hard to not get a boner and make things awkward. Please don't tease me like that." I asked what the fudge he thinks I've been doing all day if not dropping hints that I wanted, and he still kept going on that he does not like me teasing him with it. I asked why he thought I wanted to be on the beach alone with him after all the flirting on the boat trip, and he just said, "Nah, you weren't flirting, you were just being nice. That's why I have to leave, as you made me want you really hard, and that's no good." I literally had to straddle him and grab his face to yell in his face, "Mate, please fudge me E," for it to finally sink in. I think his brain went into error mode. He got really flustered up, kinda short-circuited, and nervously fiddled around with his hands while I was straddling that I literally had to tell him that I want him to kiss me, grab me, and that I'm going to fudge him right here in my beach dress if he lets me, as I've been waiting for it all day, getting mad horny by all the touchiness and flirting. Then he finally got it. The first thing he said afterwards was, "Well, now I feel really stupid. Am I really that dense?" And I laughed so hard. We traveled together for a few weeks as we really clicked with each other, messed up each other senseless, and then naturally parted ways when the travel plans diverted. Great time.